Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Story Two-Face, and I'm here to talk to you today about Preacher Episode 2. The first episode left a fantastic aftertaste in my mouth. Not in that way. It really started everything off very, very, very well indeed. First scene, we see the introduction of a cowboy back in 1881. Now, those of you who have read the graphic novels and comic books know who this is. However, I'm going to remain stum on the subject. Don't want to spoil it for anybody. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how that goes. And, oh god, I want to talk about that more, but I think if I say much more, it's only going to be spoilers later on, so I'm not saying anything more about that. One thing I didn't talk about in the last video was the gentleman who ended up going around to his mother's at the retirement home and ripping out his own heart. Now, this is the first use of the word, where it seems that this guy has to do quite literally what Jesse says, which is go to his mum, tell her the truth and open his heart, which then ends up with him literally sticking a knife in his chest, ripping down and opening his heart to his mother. Beautiful stuff, really. In the second episode here, we see more of use of the word. It starts off with Preacher in the bathroom with our paedophilic bus driver, who ended up confessing about his paedophilia and this lust for this one little girl that he drives to school every day. The Preacher doesn't know what to do because he can't report it to the police because it's the sanctimony of confession. So Preacher decides to take his own vengeance on the matter, goes to do what Jesse Custer used to do back in the day, which is basically beat people up. However, this time Jesse ends up using the word without realising it and telling the bus driver to quite literally forget the girl. So forgetting the girl is exactly what he does. After this little incident, we then see the final scene, which I think is a really, really good scene. He's going to see the girl that has been in a coma or some sort. We don't really know what's going on there. She's in a coma, she's wearing a wig, she's got something very wrong with her head, and she's got her eyes closed, and all she does is sit there because she's comatose. And then Jesse says to her, "Open your eyes," at the very last scene, very last line of the episode. In episode 3, will we see her open her eyes, or will she literally open her eyes and just sit there? Will she open her eyes, regain consciousness? I'm going for probably just opening her eyes and sitting there. After the way the guy with the mother literally opened his heart, I think the girl, all she will do literally is open her eyes. Now, the first scene that we see that girl in is when Jesse goes to visit her and the mother. Now, I really, really, really like this scene. I think it's a scene that shows depth. It shows Jesse's commitment to wanting to stay in the town and help people. He feels that he can help this girl and the mother, spiritually speaking, with just saying that, you know, God be with them, even though the woman has decided that God has let her down, God has let her family down, God has let her daughter down. Can't speak. So yes, this scene hints at Jesse's motivation to want to stay. We want to know where that motivation comes from. Earlier, you know, in his past life, there's lots of sort of nods to what may have happened in his past life. We get the idea that what has happened in his past has been quite bad, but it has made him the person who he is, but he's trying to forget. And I think the scene in the bathroom, again with the paedophile, shows that no matter how much he tries to run away from his past, it keeps coming back to him, and it's the only way he knows how to deal with situations that are out of his hands, and I think particularly out of God's hands, when he feels he needs to do God's work for him, or take it upon himself to do God's work, i.e. beat the crap out of a paedophile. So yes, Jesse feels he needs to take matters into his own hands, and he does what he does with a paedophile, just like he does with breaking the boy's father's arm, who we see in this video turns out to be working for Jackie Earle Haley. Now, only through knowing who Jackie Earle Haley is cast as, or anyone that's read the books will know what character Jackie Earle Haley is playing. He's playing Odin Quincannon, and it's a very, very short scene that we see him in. Just the one scene where he goes, and it's a groovy little scene where he forces this seemingly Native American couple signing away their house, and then the bulldozer literally comes in as the last people leave the frame and demolishes the house, where we see just the possessions of this poor couple just out on the grass, and they're just standing there watching their house get demolished, and then all the people just go away, leaving these people completely in the lurch, and no idea what to do with all their stuff. It turns out that the guy, oh my god, I cannot remember his damn name, Donnie, is it Donnie? Gets his arm broken, is Odin Quincannon's right-hand man. Now, with the introduction of Odin Quincannon and the mysterious cowboy that we see in the first scene, I am a little bit worried that because of the introduction, the continual introduction of new characters, which of course is great because it's expanding the universe, if they do it too quickly, it may A, end up confusing the audience, and B, may just seem like attempting to please the fans with cameos, which is a very bad way to go. Otherwise we'll just end up with lots of people, because it's not mainstream, it will just seem like lots of nods here and there, and they go, oh, that must be some guy from the book, and they've just thrown him in just to please the fans. Well, the thing is that it's not particularly the cowboy and Odin Quincannon. Yes, these people are being introduced. That's because particularly the cowboy has a very important part as we go later on down the story. I'm not going to spoil anything more there. So the last thing we want to do is end up introducing so many new characters that the audience just gets confused, takes a step back and just says, oh, I don't understand what's going on here. Why do we keep jumping between 1881 and now? Why are we seeing what's happening with a cowboy 130 years ago? It doesn't make any sense. Sorry, 125 years ago. Also, we see a little bit more with the two mysterious characters in white, the British guys. Now they come in and they're after something that the preacher has. Now, putting two and two together, we can work out that they seem to be after whatever preacher has inside him. Again, anyone who knows the book knows all this and what's happening, but because it's not been mentioned so far, we'll just say it is the spirit or spiritual entity that has embodied Jesse Custer, and that these two guys in the white suits are after him, or after that particular spiritual thing. Hence the whole thing with the coffee tin going on the chest, and them trying to do the singing with the weird old school vinyl amplifier. Of course, then we realise that they're not just two cowboys, they are in fact immortals, or at least something of the sort, because we see Cassidy beat them all to a pulp in the church. Great fight sequence, lots of blood. Cassidy gets shot again, ends up drinking the blood of these guys. Now Cassidy thinks that these two guys are after him, and that it's just a continuation of more vampire hunters that he's been going on about, harking back to the first scene with him that we see on the plane, where he's taking down the people there who are trying to kill him. Are they this? Are they not? It seems that they may be more than that, because the people that were on the plane were just humans, whereas these guys are coming back to life. Are they after Jesse Custer particularly? Are they after the spiritual entity? Are they after Cassidy? Are they after anyone who's associated with Jesse Custer? A scene I really like as well is the scene where we see Jesse Custer, and after he's been tied up in a chair by Tulip and chained to the wall, Custer gets back to his house and he's trying to hack away the chains with a hacksaw. Then Eugene arrives. The scene that unfolds between Preacher and Eugene is a very, very good scene for a development of both their characters. Now, the scene that what Eugene says has a lot to do with what Jesse Custer's going through. Is a very nice mirroring going on there, and it gets Jesse thinking. However, this is also motivation with what happens with Eugene's story as his storyline develops. At the moment, it's being set up very well in order to push Eugene's storyline along as it has done in the books, and it's also doing very well at giving Preacher pause for thought about what... Oh, sorry, my God, I just spat everywhere. That's minging. It also gives Preacher a pause for thought about what he's going to do in the town with everything that Eugene's saying, and it's definitely giving him a lot to think about. I'm going to leave this episode here. I think I've certainly covered the points that made the episode particularly interesting. Again, this is just a development. I think once the series has come to an end, we will be able to look back on these episodes and do a lot of, like you do in The Usual Suspects twice, when you see Verbal sitting at the police station, you go, oh yeah, that bit's because he's thinking that, and oh, that's because he's thinking that. I think that Preacher is going to be very much like this as well. We'll be looking back, just going, now that scene makes a lot more sense now, this scene makes a lot more sense. Oh, I can understand why he did that now, because in episode 8, He went and, you know, went pheasant hunting. So yes, I'm definitely looking forward to what we see in episode 3. But in the meantime, I'd just like to say to you, thank you very much for tuning in. My name, as always, is Story Two Face. You've just been spoiled rotten, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.